You ready to roll?
Yeah.
You ready to do this?
Ready to do this.
Oh man, all right, let's get into it. Lay LK at OneYoungsta, holding it down, bringing you that street geek nerd soul. What is up, my people? Today, coming with another wonderful episode of Black Together. I'm not by myself. Lady Lisa, say what's up.
Hey y'all.
We gonna have some fun. Look, all right. Today, we got engagement rings versus student loans. Mm-hmm. We got black dad's custody, and we got the Buckingham Bigots versus the Prince of Darkness. So we gonna have some fun. We gonna have some fun. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying. Hopefully, you know you'll enjoy your time with us. This is Black Together. If you're brand new, what up, RG? Nice to see you, RG, in the house. It's nice to see you. If you've never been to Black Together is myself, my wife. We attack relational issues from the perspective of a black married couple. And let's give them a warm up. Let's do the custody issue. Let's warm up with that. Let's do a little warm up.
Okay. All right. A black father gets custody of his daughter after she was secretly adopted. All right.
Yep. And I'll put the link in the chat.
Yeah. Christopher Emanuel, a black father from South Carolina whose daughter was adopted without him knowing, has finally gained full custody after an intense court battle. Since then, he has also founded an organization called the Sky's the Limit Foundation to help other fathers who are going through the same ordeal. In 2014, Emanuel said his girlfriend, who is white and whose family did not approve of their relationship, placed their newborn daughter, Skylar, up for adoption without his permission. I was lost, man. I was hurt. I was confused because I wanted to ensure that I could be there for my child, he told WACH News. Since Emanuel knew that his girlfriend was pregnant, he listed himself on February 4th, 2014, on the Responsible Fatherhood Registry, a South Carolina database for those
Responsible Fatherhood Registry? We'll get into that in a second.
I'm saying what it is now. A South Carolina database for those who fathered a child but were not married. I'm not sure why or how. Okay. With that,
get into it.
He was supposed to be notified if the child was put up for adoption. But when a family filed a motion to adopt Skylar on February 19, 2014, Emanuel wasn't informed. The adoptive family, who was from San Diego, was able to adopt Skylar even though they're from another state.
All the way from San Diego, B?
Due to a South Carolina law that allows out-of-state adoptions under special circumstances, including when a child is biracial? Why is that a special circumstance?
Why is biraciality... Yeah, I said it. Why is biracialism
fishy as all get out?
Yeah, this sound like white people wanted to steal a black child from a black man that wanted to take care of his child. But continue.
Okay. Emanuel endured a lengthy court? Okay. To dispute
a lengthy court case? Trial?
Yes. To dispute the adoption. He said at some point he even considered just adopting his own daughter back, as he almost lost hope he would see her again.
Wow.
After a year, a judge sided with Emanuel as court records clearly, I guess, showed his paternal rights were terminated without his permission. He was then granted sole custody of his daughter. To help other fathers with similar cases, Emanuel's foundation has recently launched a Kickstarter campaign that aims to end adoption trafficking in the U.S.
Adoption trafficking, which is a whole nother side of the game. What up, Vulcan? Nice to see you. Adoption trafficking, that's a whole nother side of the game.
Yeah.
Because think about it. If you're a black couple and you're like, hey, I want to adopt a child, and they run you through all of these, like, all of this red tape and all of this stuff, and you're like, yo, why? This is so stringent. How are white people getting kids so easily? Now, look, the kid's here. We can't roll back. But all I'm going to say is, once again, my brothers, all right, ain't nothing better for you than a sister. That's all
But
I'm gonna say.
And I agree with you. Of
We
course,
don't hear these stories coming out. Well, there's other stories, but I'm just saying.
This stuff happens with sisters too.
True that. I'm just saying.
I'm with you on the whole. You should be with your sisters thing.
You be with your.
But in terms of this,
look,
I hate to say it as a sister, but it wouldn't have helped.
But see, here's the thing: if he was with a sister, she wouldn't have gave up the kid. She would just been like, "Here, the kid."
What you talking about?
All right, look, just let my point work. All right, I'm taking down the white women. All right, let my point work.
I mean, okay, all right.
But I am surprised that he actually won this court case. I'm surprised because when it comes to family court and black men, it's usually not a good look.
Well, I think it's because he was so persistent and, because it sounds like he had researched the law himself. Mm-hmm. And, I don't think a judge or whoever else was going to be able to, do anything against him. Because the law was indeed on his side. There was no
there was no way to kind of
there was no way,
fix it.
Yeah, the law clearly states. It showed, and so they didn't really, have a choice. I'm just, a year is a lot.
A year is a long time to be away from your child that you first weren't even told that, was given away for adoption.
Yeah, it's really sad because I'm sure I don't know, and I feel sorry for the child because it's very confusing.
Yeah, because you spent a year, a very formative year with, with another couple. So now you're in the arms of this other guy. You don't know nothing.
You don't know him,
you're one.
So it's
your
just sad.
surroundings different. The person is different. Everything. And then, children at that age notice like sight, sound, smells in a different way. It's just, man.
Yeah,
man.
It's sad all around.
It's scary because NERDSoulite, he's 3. I can't imagine losing that first year with him. I can't imagine. Like, look, I love my boy, and have we ever really been apart?
No more than
minimally for
a couple hours.
Days or something.
No.
Remember, that time you flew back to VA.
Yeah,
it was like 2 or 3 days.
That was a few days, and I'm gonna tell you, he was not happy. I will tell you,
he would not sleep without me.
No,
he would. He was like,
my mom was like, "What in the world is wrong with him?" I'm like,
no, Thomas D didn't say your food now has seasoning. See, little baby like, this food's a little different.
But
nobody's shopping in the bland section anymore. It's like a pinch of salt. No, you're supposed to get a pinch, not a grain of salt.
It was some comedian was like, "There's a whole aisle of seasonings that you guys just don't use."
They just walk right past that joint. They be like, "Nah, forget that. I don't want it.
I'll just take the salt."
Nah, I'm cool. Let me just get salt and pepper. Do you want to get like cayenne pepper? You know what I'm saying? Maybe some different. Nah. Red pepper? Nah. Just regular black pepper.
Get you a little Lars.
You know what I'm saying? You want some white pepper, red pepper, cayenne pepper. There's all kinds of.
I'll settle for Mrs. Dash at this point. Wow, okay?
Mrs. Dash is made. Mrs. Dash is like the white go-to. Whenever they're feeling festive, they're like, just let you know, there's a little special taste in there. It's Mrs. Dash, and you're like, boy, that's all right. Yo, I cannot explain to you how many times I've been like, you know what? I just grabbed something. You know what? I'm not really that hungry. I'll grab a little something, and then you just mill around until you don't get something. Like, oh yeah, you know what? I'll grab something. I'm gonna go talk to them real quick, and then you just never grab something, because
as you walking around, you see people like taking their bare fingers and poking it in a bowl to taste.
People be putting their whole hand in. Remember, they will reach past the spoon into the bowl. I said the bowl.
Did I tell you about that potluck I went to It was this new group of people.
And don't be doing no potlucks, y'all.
But listen, I went
COVID
to
turned that off. We done.
And this was many, many years ago. And I made my my jambalaya. So it was, my sausages and peppers and rice and all that, right? Mm-hmm. So I take it there. Mm-hmm. And we're standing around. I think, we were praying before we ate. So then we're done with prayer. This guy is standing beside the food. He turns around, and this sucker takes his bare, dirty fingers, reaches in my bowl of food that I made, and takes out a sausage.
That's your fault for submitting food to those unworthy of your food, of your tastings.
I could have just...
Man, look, you better run to the grocery store.
Now I can't even eat the food that I made.
Yo, just go to the grocery store, get them a pack of whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just be like, look, this what y'all got. I ain't put my energy into y'all. My love. Y'all heard of like water for chocolate? I ain't put my love and spirit into something for y'all to just cast aside with your little dusty hands, using the bathroom and walking straight out. You don't even think it's... Look, all right. You be in the bathroom. White dudes will use the bathroom, walk past the sink. They won't even like slow down and be like, maybe I should. Nah. No, they'll just be like right through there. Nah, bro. Look, potluck. What? You need some chips? Cool. I'll buy some. Cool. Here you go. Y'all can mess up the ruffles. I don't want them no way. But back to this story. I am glad that this father got his child, because there's many that don't. Now, of course, this whole registry of like the Good Father Registry or something like,
I don't know what.
Like, what in the world is that? South Carolina?
But yeah, I don't know all the details. But the good part of that was with him being on that registry, they were supposed to contact him. But my thing is, if he's on the registry, how was he not contacted? Because if he's on a registry, it's not up to the mother or anybody else to contact him.
The adoption agency was supposed to do it.
It's not the adoption agency. Whoever's in charge of that registry.
Oh well, doesn't who's in charge of the registry have to get notified by the adoption agency of a new adoption? At least I assume.
I have no idea. how all this works. But
anyway,
somebody didn't do what they were supposed to do.
Look, at least brother got his child back, and that's a good thing. So now let's get into our main story. The Buckingham Bigots versus the Prince of Darkness. Darkness, yes. All right, so
and in case you don't know who we are referring to, we're
referring to the royal family.
Versus
the child of Meghan Markle and Harry, the Prince. I don't know his last name. I'm gonna be honest.
What is his last name?
It's Harry.
I forget.
Williamson? I don't know. I don't know his last name. I don't know. What is Harry's last name? Somebody tell me what Harry's last name is. I don't know. Andrews? What is? No, it's Prince Andrew was the one that's messing with all the kids. He the one that had to go hide out when he got in trouble. He's the Duke of Sussex. So I don't know what Harry's last name is. I really don't know. I know it ain't Markle. It's Meghan Markle, and I guess her last name is technically Markle hyphen. I don't know, Jones, Washington. I don't know what his last name is. Anyway, we get the interview with Oprah. There's a couple things I want to hit, because even though this is a mixed couple, there is some stuff that we can talk. Thomas D said Harry blacklisted. There are some things that we can talk about as a general couple in familial relations when there's kind of like static and pushback and everything. There is, what was the meme that you saw? Something about people getting blocked and you can't block a girl or something like that. What was it? You said like he left the country, but you can't block nobody or something. Never mind. I'll remember it on my own. All right. There was a meme where a woman put out like Harry left the whole country for his woman, and you won't block a girl on Facebook or something.
Okay, I remember what you're talking about.
Now you're trying to come through in the clutch.
I remember that. I was like, what are you talking about? Because you weren't saying it right.
I was saying it properly.
No, you won't.
So anyway, I like the fact that he was willing to, do this and, kind of like break these ties or whatever. We'll get into that later. Interview happens. This is a situation where I want to talk about family members and their pushback, their animosity, their negativity towards your mate. Because I think right here, this is something where we kind of went, we were talking back and forth about Meghan not naming names.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, well, when I said why she's not naming names, what did you say?
I said, well, she has to, consider her husband, because if he wants to name names, because this is his family, if he wants to name names, she needs to leave that to him. But for her to name names, you have to have consideration for your husband, because at the end of the day, it's going to affect him. It's not about her trying to protect his family. It's about her trying to protect him. Because, he's already lost connection with so much of his family, which has to be extremely hurtful for him, regardless of the situation and regardless of why. It's still hurtful. So it's going to come back and hurt him even more and make it more awkward and stressful and whatever for him. So she has to consider, is it really worth me, causing him that extra stress on top of what we're going through just to have the satisfaction of naming names? Okay.
And the way, and Kevin Jones comes in and says, do you think both Harry and Meghan were in denial of the truth and how the family would think of that relationship? Yes, we'll get into that in a second. I want to talk about that point. Mm-hmm. For me, this is how I see marriage. And of course, this is coming from someone who's, preacher's kid and all that stuff. How I see is the one that I join with, the one that I get married with, that's number one above all else. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It says, leave your family and cling to cling to her or cling to him. So I've left my family. I am part of her. We are building a new family. This is us, me and you, meaning Harry, Meghan, or me, Lisa. So you've made one. Now our child is second from that, because that's in our family. Y'all, grandma and stuff, I love you, grandma. I love you, brother. I love you, auntie and uncle. But you do not override my wife. Ever. You do not override or trump my wife or my child. Ever. And for you to name a name of someone who has wronged you, you're not defaming them. You're just telling a story.
Right.
Not telling a story like telling a lie, but you're just telling what happened to you. Mm-hmm. For me, I wouldn't be angry about that. I wouldn't be hurt or angry with you about that, because I'm like, this is what happened. I'm like, this is what happened. I'm not mad. I'm not hurt. And honestly, if my brother or my uncle or my cousin or whatever is mad at me, let them be mad. Because the bottom line is, this is my wife. I have joined her. I have become a unit with her. Now, I love you. You my uncle. We down, we cool. But guess what? You will not disrespect what's going on in this home. You know what I'm saying? Ever. And if you do, and she decides to talk about it, then that's her prerogative. This is what happened to her. She's not just postulating and making up random things. So that's kind of how I came. That's how I felt. But I do see what you meant about trying to protect sort of his feelings and stuff like that. Yeah. Because later on, he does look remorseful about not being able to talk to his brother, the one that's married to Kate Middleton. Mm-hmm. So you do see that. So now, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so I mean, and it's not about, I don't think it's a thing of, she didn't want to say because she thought he'd be mad at her. Okay. I mean, he may have, I'm sure they discussed this, but he may have very well not have been mad at her, but it still is going to affect him. So my thing is, he knows the same things that she does, right? Yeah. Again, if he wants to name his family members, he can name his family members. She's been hated enough.
True.
Everything is her fault anyway. Yeah. They're calling it the Megxit. Yeah. Come on. So, yeah,
And for me, the reason, my thing is, they hate me anyway. So this interview is not going to make you love me. So let me go in and unload. Let me go in and get it out. Let me go in and exercise these demons. Because there ain't nothing I'm going to ever do to make you say, ooh, we were wrong. Meghan's okay. It's never going. So at least that's my perspective, how I approach it. Not like I'm coming out there to be like, da-da. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's just...
But I'm just saying, like, yo, what am I holding my tongue? Why am I going to protect your image?
Yeah. Well, this is the other thing.
What?
This is the other thing I just thought of. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't know how far they take it. So if they start naming names and no one really knows for sure, you know what I mean, except them in those conversations within the palace. Yeah. If they wanted to, they could hit them with the defamation case. We don't know how far they might go because, you know, they're very serious about this whole how they look and, you know, how they're seen and what's said about them. True. They're real serious about that. So they may just in turn, you know, have a defamation. They don't need that in their life. It's not that serious.
I'll give you that. Now, I will. With that, I did want to get over to the part of what Kevin Jones did say earlier about, do you think both Harry and Meghan were in denial of the truth and how the family would, or what the family would think about the relationship? Okay, so there's a couple things that are different here. One, I don't think Harry realized the pushback that he would get. I think that he thought he would get the pushback that Kate got when she was new, but after they were married, everything would be cool. There was a little like apprehension to Kate, but for the most part, it was cool. So I think that he thought once they get to know her, this will all blow over, kind of thing. Also, from Meghan's side, you have to remember, Meghan is from the U.S. Meghan, okay. Since we go by, you know, she's biracial and one drop makes you whole, of course, Meghan is a black woman. But due to colorism inside of the American structure of white supremacy and racism, Meghan is viewed very much, especially since she keep that perm strong. She keep that perm strong all the time. Meghan has been viewed much in the way of maybe a white Latina or a very extremely light-skinned black woman close to whiteness. And what I mean by that is when you deal with white Asians, white Latinos, Latinas, Latinx, whatever, or extremely light-skinned black people, there is a difference in how our society here in America treats you, which is a lot, I don't know if the term is kinder. Maybe not kinder, less aggressive. Mm-hmm. So living that life and growing up as that, being parallel to whiteness, I don't think she realized that when you go back over there to the original white, they don't play the colorism game. You're white or you're not. Because remember, they over there, they don't like each other. You got British people don't like Irish people don't like Russian people don't like German people. They all white. America is the only place where it's accepted as a sort of like this like white homeland. You know what I'm saying? Or like this generalistic white colony where all white people can come here and be essentially the same and protected the same and immunity from, you know, police and stuff like that the same. Over there, they got their own individual white beefs. And over there, either you like Anglo-Saxon or you're not. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I think when she got over there, she realized, oh, hold up. All of my colorism protections that I enjoy in America, whew. And I think that I believe that, and unfortunately, because this is in a very public eye, I think that she got that in wake-up call in a very loud and public way that she never experienced before, because here she's like like Gina's skin tone. Tisha Campbell. She's like very white, very light. So
but even
and then also keeping that perm strong, you can look at her and be like, oh, maybe she's like Greek, or maybe she's like Latina or something like that.
The difference with that is with Tisha Campbell, she has more ethnic features.
Yeah, she does have more ethnic features.
So no matter how light she is, you look at her and like, that's a black woman.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know.
Meghan Markle looks like a Latina.
I didn't know who Meghan Markle was. You know what I mean? And you were like, oh, she's an actress, whatever. And I was like, I don't understand. Because when I looked at her, I was like, who are you talking about? You were like, her. And I'm like, but that's a white woman. You're like, no, it's not.
I was like, and even when I saw her on, I think she was on Suits. When I saw her, I just assumed that she was a Latina. Like, straight up. I assumed, because that's kind of the life that she's been afforded in. Not saying that she's running around saying, I'm not black. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about how society views her, not how she views herself.
I don't think she was correcting nobody either.
No, she wasn't. She ain't been correcting nobody either. And we'll talk about, Back to Love said one drop rule leads to Rachel Dolezal.
You know what?
And talking about her not running around claiming, I did want to express this to black women in general. Black women, I love y'all. And I've seen y'all ride hard for this relationship, ride hard for her, and really push and promote and support Meghan Markle as a black woman.
Like, they got a black princess. All right, now, go ahead.
I don't think that this is a two-way street. From what I see, I don't see the support coming back from Meghan to the black community as far as like women are concerned. Even regardless of men, even women. I don't see it. Now, you know, Lady Lisa, do you see or have you heard of like, oh, you know, Meghan Markle out here repping black women? I don't see it. Maybe
no.
So I think that this is a very one-sided support structure of like, oh yeah, we got a black woman that's a princess, and I don't see that support coming back from that. Do with that information what you will, but I just don't see that support coming back the other way. No. But that doesn't mean that she deserves the treatment she got.
Absolutely
that was
not.
Straight foul. But I think that she's so used to American white supremacy in America, she was not prepared for Britain. And then I think Harry figured there'll be pushback in the beginning, but then after we're married, it'll be like, hey, everybody will love her. They'll see she's cool. I like her. They'll like her. And I think they were both extremely, this is why you need black friends. But I'm gonna tell you this, I would have told her, you're about to see racism like you ain't never seen in your life. And she would have been like, nah, man, it ain't gonna be like that. And I'd be like, believe me.
But this is the issue. This is the issue. And Madam Butterfly and I talked about this on our podcast that'll be coming up tomorrow. My thing is, but you grew up as a black child. You were raised by a visibly black mama, right? So regardless of what her experience was in Hollywood, as she got older, she was older and became an actress, that has nothing to do with you growing up as being raised as a black girl. So it still doesn't explain her obliviousness, if you will, when it came to that, because it's like, you've had black experience.
Well, this is how I feel about that. Her mother is raising her as a little black girl.
Right.
But when she steps out that door to go to school, basketball practice, softball, to work, America treats her not as a black woman. America treats her as a, white Latina, or essentially an exotic white woman. So, like a Kardashian type or something like that. So even though her mother raises her one way, she realizes that society sees her another, even from a young age.
Well, no, I'm going to tell you what.
I think we all kind of notice that when we're growing up.
I'm going to tell you what. I just looked up some pictures of Miss Meghan as a child. They treated her like a black girl because my baby girl didn't have a perm.
Oh yeah. Forgot if that girl is now, she couldn't keep a perm, because notice,
I'm looking at her.
Meghan keep a perm.
Yeah, I'm looking at her photos, y'all, and
if you let that perm run out,
I'm gonna tell you this: your roots will show your roots. Okay?
Oh, man.
Your roots gonna show enough show your roots. And I'm looking at this
man.
Look.
Oh, snap. Oh, yeah. She looked like a Jewish kid in that joint.
She kind of does. She actually
So,
kind of does.
all right, peep this. So, Kevin Jones says, I mean, America had to learn oppression from somewhere after all. True. Don't get me wrong. It's just that over here, there was a different situation because in America, white people also lived with their slaves in a different way. Also, a lot of people had left Britain and Ireland and France and whatever and wanted something different for this land. Of course, different for white people. So, I get you. They learned it from somewhere, but then they tried to perfect it. And said, Kevin Jones said, I don't think Meghan was prepared for the harsh treatment she would receive in the UK. And then Back to Love says, black man plus black woman equals black child. I agree, but at the same time, we also have to take into account how society treats you. So like say there's a biracial child, but they're light skinned, but their features are very distinctly black. And like even though they're light skinned, you're able to see they're black, and there's still someone that the police would consider black. They're definitely going to they're going to be black in the eyes of it's weird.
Well,
it's because you get into this situation of like colorism where it's like you get into these weird situations where it's like you're passing, like the movie Queen, you're passing, or it's like the police, someone Huey said on Boondocks, someone the police would consider black. You know what I'm saying? So I do understand that, and I know the one drop, of course we know where the one drop rule comes from, but there is a very visible difference in many biracial children. And I think we do have to consider the lives they lead and how society treats them. American society and black society treats them. So we do have to, consider that. You know what I'm saying?
What I see what you're saying, but this, and I know you and I had a conversation about this before.
Yeah.
The issue I have with that is that we're talking about how these people will be seen and perceived by everyone else.
Uh-huh.
That's something very separate from what they indeed are. And, I've had friends, this sounds horrible. I've had biracial friends, but, one of my girlfriends I went to high school with, she talked about how she always felt like she had to choose one side or the other. And it's like, I'm both. I'm black and I'm white. I am biracial. I'm not only black. I'm not only white. I'm both. Yeah. And I do think it is unfair to just say, well, you just black because you have black features and because you have black hair and everybody gonna see you as black. So that's what you are. It's like, no, how you see me and what I am, it's two different things. I shouldn't be made to label myself.
And I get
as how you see me.
Yes, and I get you. But I feel that's more of a theory situation than a practice situation. What I mean is, you can say like, you don't get to define me, blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is the world we live in is you can say, I want to choose both, but the police going to say, nah, we done chosen for you.
But that's a separate
you know what
issue.
I'm saying?
It's not
that's
about...
what I mean as far as being in practice. In practice, you don't get to choose. You don't get to be like, well, I'm both and I want to choose.
No, I do get to choose. That's the thing I'm saying. I get to choose. I get to correct you. I get to correct you and say, I'm biracial.
If you want, I mean...
No, well, I'm just saying, I don't think it's fair, to be like, in theory, and you don't, I do get, well, first of all, I don't get to choose because I am what I am, for biracial people. I am, they are biracial. They are black and white. And I can understand if someone wants to say, no, don't call me just black. Don't call me just white. I'm both.
Yes, and I get you. But what I'm saying is when it comes to, the police or walking into that bank or going to school, they're not going to say, well, you know what? You're half black, so let me give you half of the racism. It's not.
I understand that.
But that's what I mean. In theory, it's great to say I get to choose, but we don't really get to choose.
No, you're talking about treatment. No, you don't get to choose the treatment, and no one says.
Yeah, and that's what I mean.
Yeah, but again, you don't get to choose how someone sees you. You don't get to choose how someone treats you. That's on them. But what I'm saying is, I think it would be honestly wrong if someone was referred to as being black, if someone referred to Meghan Markle as being black, and she felt like, no, I am a biracial woman.
Yeah.
Saying I'm just black totally dismisses my white family.
All right.
It totally dismisses the white part of me, just like calling me white. Because let somebody call her white, black folks gonna be like, nah. And you know it's true.
I said it tonight.
If somebody were to call Halle Berry white, if somebody were to call Mariah Carey white, now that we know she ain't fully white, you know, if somebody would call Alicia Keys white, we'd be like, But you get what I'm saying?
I feel you. And then peep this. Now Back to Love does say, just because you're not white doesn't make you black. So I get you on that. I feel you on that. And then Kevin Jones said, plus the way the British press handled Kate and Meghan were vastly different. So that's the next thing. That's the next thing I wanted to talk about.
Absolutely.
So we're interviewing Meghan the whole time, and they say that this is a Meghan and Harry interview. It's a Meghan interview. Harry's there for like 5 minutes, but anyway, like we get into this interview going deep diving about her experience and what's going on, and this like kind of like royal Illuminati beside the family that does a whole other thing. And I looked at the time code. We don't even reference racism until like an hour and 3 minutes into the program.
Yeah, they don't even say the word. Really.
That shows how either A, scared you are to actually call a spade, or B, how delusional you are. Like the treatment, even when they were talking about the treatment of her, the way the family was, the way the Illuminati was towards her, how all of this stuff, I'm like, yo, really though? Like, this is how long it took you just to say the term racism this long? And it does make me wonder if there's still, because there is this kind of like, Illuminati-ish kind of, group behind the royal family, I assume, the institution, who knows? But it does seem like and I'll ask you this, because I know we talked about this too. Mm-hmm. It seemed like this did not have to be an hour and a half for all of these vagaries when we didn't really learn anything that we didn't already know. They're racist. Well, you didn't feel good about it. And we learned no names.
Yeah, but
so it's stuff we already knew. And we know she didn't feel good because there was that interviewer that asked her, how are you doing? And she's like, actually, I'm not doing good. So we knew that already. So now we got this whole big thing about, oh, here comes the interview. So great. Oprah's going to be doing it. And it's like, what? The only thing we really learned is that, A, they were probably a little, if not absent-minded, they were way more hopeful than maybe they should have been. And there's an institution that kind of like serves to like run the family in truth or something. But besides that, this is like stuff we already knew. Do you think that it needed to be an hour and a half?
Well, it's not about needed.
Okay.
Okay. If you want to go there, the whole thing didn't need to happen. It's because, like when you and I talked about, Americans have this interest in the royal family and how they operate. And we're just kind of fascinated, with the whole royalty and all that kind of stuff. And black folks have become fascinated since Meghan has come into the picture.
Yeah, because I'm like, why are we hype about this again?
And,
who cares?
The interview gave us details about, specific events and things like that. So it gave us, juicy bits of stuff that happened. And so I just didn't see it the same way as you did.
Okay.
Because for, people who were excited to see it wanted to know these details and just bits of information and stuff like that. Some people just wanted to know names. Other people were like, you can name names or not. I just want to know more, about what happened, So that's kind of how I see it. the biggest thing that I got out of it was regardless of what anybody says, I'm still in shock, I guess, about why this child was so, I don't know. She just seems so like clutch the pearls about there being prejudice and her race being an issue.
Yeah.
Ma'am, she got so comfortable, like you said, she got comfortable living the way she has as a passing. Let's just call it. Let's go old school and say
people didn't think she was black.
She was passing. Okay. Yeah. Right here, in Hollywood, she was passing and living this life as a, racially ambiguous woman, right? And I kind of think she forgot. she forgot. She had been kind of living in La La Land for so long, and she kind of forgot that.
True.
And especially when your visibly black mama showed up for your wedding with braids in her hair, ma'am. Yeah. All she needed to do next was put up a black fist, and it would have been done. Yeah, ma'am. And what did you think was going to happen after this?
Now, to Godzilla Megatron say, if the royal family was racist, they would not have let Harry marry Meghan. Here's the thing. You got to remember, there's covert and overt racism.
Right.
The royal family does not do overt racism. They're not out there trumping it up. So they've got to move through, and now that we know, they move through the press. They moved through the press to attack her. Now, when it didn't work, they were trying to tear it down and it didn't work. Then they got married. They were like, Dad, man, we lost that battle. Now we got to try to increase the pressure. Because now I will say we did learn that there were numerous stories that were straight untrue, and people inside the royal family could have set the record straight, and they didn't. Mm-hmm. So the institution, aka the firm, aka Illuminati, aka whoever you want to call it, the Royal Illuminati or whatever, they have to work covertly, because if you come out as overtly racist, it's generally accepted that we don't do overt racism anymore. So now, just like white supremacy over the years has morphed and changed and adapted, but you look back to 2019, 2020, 2018, for that, black people are still getting killed. And when they get killed, people make excuses for it, and no one is punished. Yeah. So it's not that, things are better, things are different. They're not particularly better. Mm-hmm. They're different. Now white supremacy can't move the way it did in Jim Crow South, or maybe even a little earlier, but they found other ways to move and maneuver. So that's what the royal family does. The royal family is like, all right, well, look, she here, but what we'll do is we'll attack her. And then, of course, she was like, yo, I'm having mental issues. And they were like, we can't give you no help. Yeah. You can't go get no help.
You on your own.
What do you think that is? That's them attacking her. That's them. If Kate Middleton was out there like Jean Grey fainting, look, every journalist out there would be jumping up under her with a pillow to catch her. Trust me. You know what I'm saying? They were like, Kate Middleton, prayers go out to make sure that Kate will be fine. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle, they had that article about her eating like avocado sauce or something, and it was like avocado. They were like, it's the water, the devastation of the water and the drought or something. It's like, what? Like, they be doing full reaches for that joint.
And she said, man, that's some heavy toast.
Yeah, man, that toast is real.
Avocado toast. So I wanted to go back to something if I could. Right. A comment that Back to Love made and said, allowing biracials to represent blackness is how the natural hair movement and black beauty standards have been hijacked.
You brought that up before.
I want to kind of correct a little bit of what, or push back on a little bit of what you said. Not allowing, but pushing biracials to represent blackness. We push that, especially when it comes
I think that's something that Hollywood pushed.
When it comes to the natural hair movement, now part of it, okay, you might be right. For the natural hair movement, that wasn't initially us, but the thing is, we fed into it because we usually with natural hair, we refer to curls and curl patterns.
All right.
Right?
Okay.
And we try to stay away from, other terms. We talk about curls, and when you see these commercials for natural hair products, for the most part, they show these racially ambiguous looking girls with this wavy, slightly
and see that's why I say Hollywood and kind of like New York have pushed the kind of like biracial so that's something that's outside of our control. We don't control that. We don't control that industry.
Yeah.
So
I just wanted to kind of I take a little bit of issue with allowing biracials, because it sounds like biracial people just kind of jumped in and was like, we taking over, and it's like, I don't think it was really that. I think kind of the powers that be pushed that, and we've also kind of fed into it. And even these black-owned companies, natural hair companies, some of them have really fed into it. And we're looking at these commercials. Like, we had an issue for a while with Shea Moisture, in the commercials they did.
When they had that
like,
commercial with like the white girls on it.
I was like,
that was funny. That was funny. He had to come on Breakfast Club and apologize for that.
Yeah.
That was
well,
funny.
He threw. He like was like, it wasn't me. It was
he was
them.
like, I ain't do it. That was a decision.
It's like, sir, are you not in charge?
Like, come on, man. This is your first big commercial in a long time. Don't tell me you ain't see a cut of that.
No, it was his first big commercial. Period. We didn't see Shea Moisture.
So it's like stop it, man. You know good and well.
It's like, no, sir. You own this company, so don't sit here and tell me.
Don't act like
I ain't know. Wow.
Oh man, it's like don't come with that. Back to Love said a girl who is a quarter black was named Miss Black Texas pageant winner. I'm not surprised. So I do see where you mean by allowing. I mean, there's always an opportunity to push back or protest something or boycott something to make sure that you're represented properly in the natural hair movement, because the natural hair movement had been strengthened by mostly kinky or tightly coil-haired women that are brown to black, darker black. But then somehow Hollywood got a hold of it, and it was like, look at these like very, very light, racially ambiguous,
wavy
loose
hair.
Curls, and it's always like the same hairstyle. It's always the same hairstyle. It's kind of like parted in the middle and they're like falling on the side. It's like always the same style. It's never like a different style. Is you know what I'm saying? And I do think that there's a part where black women allowed it, but then Hollywood is a huge machine, and Hollywood has been and is pushing it. So
how are we allowing it? Like, what power do we have? You
can boycott. You can. I mean, people love using Twitter for that public pressure.
Shea Moisture, Shea Moisture caught it.
Yeah, but Shea Moisture ain't the only one that's kind of like pushing these images of what a black natural hair woman looks like.
But I think Shea Moisture caught it because as black women, I mean, they have been like really on the top of the list for a lot of black women, because Shea Moisture has such a variety in terms of their products, and they were so popular. I mean, they really were. And I think they've taken quite a fall, since then.
Well, because there's a lot more options for black women out there now.
There are, but
Shea Moisture ain't the only game in town no more.
It's not, but they were a main go-to. They really were.
But I think what Back to Love is also talking about is not only Shea Moisture, but there's these other commercials where you see kind of like natural hair. I mean, because we even saw a natural hair black woman like on like a Pantene Pro V commercial or something like that. Remember? It was like, these curls will never get lost or something like that. It was like, what?
And I said, that's not even her hair. When I looked at it, I was like, that's not even her hair in this commercial.
So it's like, those are the things where it's similar to the young man on African Diaspora Network, where he was like, we really need black women to step in here and do something, because black men can't I can't boycott because I don't go there. So this is something that definitely needs to be spearheaded by black women, because I can't I ain't really taking no money out of the Korean hair care store because
Right.
I ain't going in there anyway.
Yeah.
I've been in a hair care store once in like the last 10 years. Because most of the stuff that I need, I'll just get off the internet anyway. And, but that's a whole nother story. Because we have one more story to get to, but before that, I'm going to holler at Kid at Heart. What's up, Kid at Heart? What's up, RG? Nice to see you. RG said, y'all remember when Kendall Jenner ended racism with a can of Pepsi? It's over. It's finished. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Okay.
Oh, man. It's funny.
I'm not going to even speak on Kendall Jenner and all of them. That's, just,
oh, man.
Going through black men like candy. But, okay.
But they letting her.
True.
They letting her.
True.
Get your face out there. Get out white women's face. Straight up. Get out white women's face. I don't know why. Just get out of white women's face. That's a whole nother thing. Look, me and the fellas might talk about that one day, but just it's a whole nother thing. So, man. So, with the strength of a can of Pepsi, I'd like to move on to our very last story. Oh, man. Let me get ready to put the link in the chat. If you could, kick it off for us.
So there was this post that I saw on Facebook, posted by Mad Skills.
Yep.
And
shouts to VA.
He put, what y'all think? And this was the post. It said, a man proposes to his woman with a receipt of her $70,000 student loan debt being paid in full in place of a ring. She thanks him, but says she still requires a ring before getting married. And then the question is posed, what is she? And there are 4 choices. A, reasonable. B, ungrateful. C, smart. Or D, dumb.
All right, now read it again. Start over again, just so they can get it.
A man proposes to his woman with a receipt of her $70,000 student loan debt being paid in full in place of a ring. She thanks him, but says she still requires a ring before getting married. What is she? A, is she reasonable? B, ungrateful. C, smart. Or D, dumb. You want to go first on this one, sir?
You know what? I'd have to go. I hate to say this because it's a sister, or it's
well, we don't know.
It's hypothetically a sister.
It's with the picture.
It's posted from a black man. It has an image of a black woman.
Right.
It's the idea is that it comes, from a black man speaking about a situation with a black woman.
But we don't know.
But any woman out there, I would say that highly B and highly D with a side of short-sightedness. If it is so hard to find a good man out there, I'll say this for any race because, let's go into I don't want to just come for the sisters, but you know what? No, on this one, I'll come for the sisters. Here it is. If there's so many, if all black men are so trash, trash, triggity trash, just in the dumpster, so many bad black men, so they're all horrible and just running around and causing havoc. You find one that not only loves you and cares enough to bond himself with you, seemingly for the rest of his life, and takes the initiative,
and the foresight.
And the foresight.
And the practicality.
With the knowledge knowing that financial freedom is the key to our freedom, completely, not even reduces, removes student loan debt from you, freeing you from that
and
forever.
Even if their relationship doesn't work out, guess what?
You still have no debt.
You still have no debt. You walk away debt-free, man.
I would submit to you that is a man worth keeping. And I'd assume that if you have a relationship that has gotten to the point of proposal, that it has been a generally positive one. I would submit that that would be a man worth keeping. How about you?
I picked B and D for this. And somebody put up on, Thomas D said, E stupid. I agree with you. There are probably some E, F, and G's we can probably add to that. Ma'am, if this man pays your $70,000 student loan off, you better go to the store or wherever, go to the drawer and get you a piece of twine and tie around your finger. You hear what I say?
Look.
Don't you say nothing to that man about no parts or no ring. Because the way I look at it is, this man is about to upgrade me to the highest. He had the foresight to say, I want to marry this woman, right? And without her even saying that she will marry me, I love her so much that I am going to go ahead and pay off her student loans with the risk of her saying, no, I don't want to marry you. Look, this makes me actually want to do a hallelujah shout, because this brother right here, if you don't sit all the way down, ma'am, somebody else gonna come along and be like, you know what? You can go on about your merry way. I'll take him. Thank you, please, and thank you.
There's a song with Brian McKnight sings the hook, and of course you could flip it for a woman. But he said if you don't want her, don't waste her time. I'll take her. So you can flip it for a woman. If you don't want them, don't waste the time. She'll take them.
And some people, there were all kinds of comments. I mean, some of the comments was just dumb as all get out.
Here's the thing: there's this.
Somebody said, I mean, he should get her a ring. He probably can afford it. You don't know what he can or can't afford. $70,000 may have tapped him out for now.
Yeah.
And it's not an issue of whether or not he could afford it. It's an issue of she shouldn't even be focusing on that.
The gesture and the protection that he has provided for her financially is well worth what he's already done, most likely emotionally, because if they're at the point where he's proposing, I'm assuming that this is a positive relationship, even-keeled relationship, it's a loving relationship. So we're going to throw that in the bucket where, it's a good relationship worthy of being married. So if we're at that point, this shows that he is willing to not only be financially responsible, fiscally responsible, and able to protect you in ways that you can't see through about the future.
And clearly able to provide.
The arguments that we see about a ring they seem short-sighted. Here's why. Because with something like that, he should honestly be able to go get a $50 ring from like Kohl's or something. Like here's the thing. I've told people this a lot of times. Because I remember we were talking to D. I'll just say D. Remember, or we were talking to D, L and D. Remember in Burbank at their house one time.
Okay.
And she said that, well, I don't care about getting married because marriage is just a piece of paper. And I basically volleyed back saying, well, yes, it's just a piece of paper as far as the marriage certificate, but it's what the paper represents. Like, money is just paper. But right now, you're killing yourself to get more of it because it's not the paper, it's what the paper represents. So, like this ring right here, this is not no special super duper ring. It's not a Power Rangers decoder. It's not you know what I'm saying? It's not the power ring or something. It's what this ring represents. That's where the power comes from. That's where the understanding comes from. That's where the worth and value comes from. It's what it represents. It's the bond that it represents. It's the story and the union that it represents. And I think that if he were to buy a ring, like a basic $100 ring, that ring would represent not only what he had already done, but this brand new gesture that he's just done. in basically in hopes of, and also a statement of the man that he will be for you for the rest of your life. But you see a lot of people saying like, oh, well, she still needs a ring. And it's like, well, she doesn't have to have a ring. Like
Right.
you can go get a marriage certificate tomorrow. You and somebody can go get married tomorrow. Y'all don't ever have to wear a ring. Like you
Yeah.
don't have to wear a ring.
This is the
Some people
thing.
get tattoo rings. Some people get tattoos on their arms or something. Some people wear necklaces.
She's
Like you don't have to
focused-
have a ring. It's this focus on
She's focused on tradition and optics.
Yeah.
And she's totally lost sight of his intention and what's practical, right? Because the thing is, the ring traditionally symbolizes intent and a promise. That's what it's for. That's what it's for. It's to put a ring on her and say, hey, I intend to marry this woman. This woman is spoken for. She is my intended. The old school would say she is my intended.
Yeah.
That's what that's
Word
about. But my thing is, that's for other people to see. Mm-hmm. And my thing is with this, you should be able to kind of let go of that tradition and the optics of it. If your man says, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and this being pay your $70,000 student loan, instead of that, it's not a matter of whether he can, buy her a ring. Of course he can go somewhere and buy her a $10 ring or $20. That's not the point. The point is she shouldn't be asking for nothing else. He said instead of the ring. Instead of the ring. And to me, that may have been a test. And my thing is, look, brother, with which the answer she gave, you better tighten up your seatbelt and get ready, because it ain't gonna be nothing that you can do to satisfy this woman. Not a thing. It's always gonna be but.
Yeah, it is someone who says, well, I still need a ring. I know that sounds like you're putting value on yourself, but then when you really drill it down, it's entitled, like some people have said in the comments, and it's ungrateful. Thomas D said, "Get your money back."
Oh, you ain't getting your money back. You done paid them student loans. They ain't giving back.
They ain't
nothing.
giving that money back. Man. And Kid at Heart said, ain't a ring just a shiny rock? LOL. Assuming she wants diamonds. I said they are a girl's best friend. He said it's about to be her only friend.
Okay. Assuming she wants diamonds. Does this chick sound like she want anything but diamonds?
There's with a few of the comments that are in this, and you guys have the link, y'all can see it. With a few of the comments, there's this weird view that we in our society, or maybe in our culture, have around like this need to be seen. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you don't need to be seen as much as you think. Or maybe there's an insecurity around attention. I don't know. But this whole thing, like, she has to have a ring. Not saying that she'll never get one, because of course, they're engaged. She'll, sooner or later get one, and she'll have a ring, and they'll have a date, and set a date and get married. But this whole thing of like, I cannot say yes, even though you've done this, which this is huge grand gesture. Even though you've done this, I cannot say yes no matter what, because there's no ring.
Yeah. I mean, it's like for us, you gave me an engagement ring, but I don't have a wedding band. And I'm not tripping on that, because we have so much other more stuff to be focused on. We know we married. We have a certificate saying we married.
Yo.
I don't, it is what it is.
There was this episode, I think it was Kev on Stage. I'm trying to remember who said it. One of these black comedians on YouTube. It was Kevin on Stage. He showed his ring. He was like, look, my ring ain't nothing special. He was like, we've been married longer and happier than a whole bunch of people that had way more expensive rings.
Right.
It's like, look, I'm going to just be honest. It ain't, the ring ain't going to keep y'all married. I'm just let y'all know that. it's not the ring that's gonna keep y'all married.
Yeah, I mean, I take, I'm sorry, but I just have a lot more respect for a man who can say, who can, be honest enough to be like, look, I can't do all of this for you, but I can do what's practical and what's going to, be important for us. And what is practical and be important for you and for us is to get this $70,000 debt off of you. It's going to improve your credit.
It's going to allow us to buy homes.
And it's going to improve your credit for us.
Yeah, it's going to allow us to build wealth, buy homes, live a life that is free of this kind of like chain of debt that we're, that the American financial system tries to trap you in, especially as Black individuals. Tries to trap you in this chain or ball and chain of debt. Because of course, once we trap you in a ball and chain of debt, then your credit goes, through the tubes, not through the roof, but through the tubes to the bottom, at the bottom of the bottom. And you ain't never coming here because they know once your credit is bad, there's certain jobs you can't get. There's certain cars you can't get, certain apartments you can't get, loans you can't get, trying to get a home you can't get, things like that. So that's another part of the game where white supremacy figured out a way to morph and be different and still financially attack Black people. So looking at this, you're also like, well, he has set her up to be free as you can be, from financial attack surrounding this particular debt. It's a huge deal. And then someone did say that's $70,000, but honestly, it's really like $350K by the time you pay it off.
You ain't lying, because that interest is dumb.
That interest is crazy. That interest is criminal, son. So it's like,
they just as bad as a payday loan.
Yeah, they got payday loans out here.
Title loans.
Oh man.
I think title loans formatted what they do based on student loans.
There's like student loans out here. We about to get it on. But Thomas D said, boost her credit. He gave her a spirit bomb. Look, man. So for me, I think it's something that should be considered. I think also we need to remember as a people that are inside of a society that keeps up with the Joneses, to remember that the Joneses are the Joneses. It's nice to look at like the Kardashians or HGTV or E! Channel or all these people that are living these fabulous lives, you know what I'm saying? But to remember that is for many a fantasy. And even to a certain degree, it's still a fantasy because they're giving you this very curated view of their lives. And remember that you have to live a real life, and that, just because you don't go on these like crazy Instagram trips doesn't mean that your wife or husband doesn't love you the way that such and such on TV or Facebook or Instagram loves them. Or just because your rock isn't as shiny or as big doesn't mean that your relationship isn't as sturdy as someone else's who's already on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever, because their ring is so big and my ring is just little, you know what I'm saying? It's not, my husband must not love me as much, you know what I'm saying? We have to remember to contextualize people's online lives correctly. Meaning, oh, well, they're always going on trips. Well, are they really always going on trips, or are they just always posting pictures of trips? Because they have to work sooner or later. Mm-hmm. We know these people. They're not independently wealthy. So every time you see them like hang gliding or they're in Bahamas, you know what I'm saying? It's like, look, they don't really live that life. But it looks good. So we do have to be able to contextualize it so that we can have better relationships, because if not, you're going to be sitting around being like, I remember there was this post I saw on Instagram a couple of weeks ago, and it's one that I had seen before, maybe a couple of years prior, where there's this woman, she's cooking, I guess, food in the kitchen. And she's like half naked, and it's like, never send your man out the house without loving or something like that. And I'm like, but it's just not practical. It's just. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Where are all these women, real women, living regular everyday lives that are like cooking in the kitchen in bikinis? All right, you can't fry my chicken up in a bikini. It's just dangerous. All right, just like yo. But of course,
don't do
if you look in the comments, guys feed into this mess, and then they end up wanting this kind of like unreal woman that's wearing high heels and a bikini, yet also cooking up a good sandwich. Like you know what I'm saying?
It ain't
and like
cute.
and giving you loving and a biscuit before you go to work. It's like you ain't even got that much time before you go to work. You know you press the snooze button to the last minute.
It's nothing cute about having grease burns on your butt.
No.
Okay. It's just,
hot peanut oil on your booty. Like
I just turned around for a second and the chicken popped me in the butt.
Come on, man. But we see these things and we kind of start to internalize them, similar to, women looking at pictures of women online where the woman is always perfect and her hair is always perfect. It's like, yeah, but you don't know that she's taken like 60 selfies to post one. It's like, woke up like this. Yeah, woke up, put on your makeup, got back in bed. And then,
like this.
But, people feed into it, and we just have to remember to contextualize these relationships that we call relationship goals, where you see, like, these two people that are always doing fly stuff. And it's like, yeah, but you're not... When are you living a real life? And not saying that you have to allow me into your home, but... to contextualize that these people are giving you they're showing like the highlight reel. They're showing you the hits. They're not showing you when, she woke up, she got a headache and, you ain't feeling good and, you know what I'm saying, it's laundry day. You know what I'm saying? They're not showing you none of that. They're not showing you when she done got on your nerves and you done got on her nerves and y'all ain't speaking. You know what I'm saying? They ain't showing you those days. So just be aware. You know what I'm saying? Just be aware. But with that said, we out. We have exercised the demons. We had a good time. We did our thing. So with that said, I'm gonna give a shout out to your boy Kevon Stage. Because I did reference him. We referenced Mad Skills. Shouts to Skills from VA. We referenced, of course, Meghan Markle, Harry. I don't know your last name, Harry, but whatever it is, what up? And big shout out to Chris Emanuel in South Carolina. So glad that you're with your daughter. And, much love and continued success. # Black Dads. Love you. So with that said, to the chat. Kid at Heart, Jenna James, what up? Back to Love, Kid at Heart. Oh, sorry, Kid at Heart already. Thomas D, Kevin Jones. I know RG was up in here. Was it Megatron that was tripping? Godzilla Megatron was tripping earlier. Hugo Chavez and come on now. And Vulcan, big shout out to all y'all. If I missed your name, it's not on purpose. It's a whole bunch of little names, and I can't read them all, man. My eyes are getting old. I'm old. But actually, it's good to be old. I mean, you get that wisdom, man. You get your old, grow up, and then you kick the truth to the young black youth. So, Lady Lisa, say peace.
Bye, y'all.
I knew that was coming. So guys, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all them places. Hit that thumbs up if you like what you're seeing. Hit that thumbs down if you don't. But if you hit that thumbs down, you ain't getting no ring. All right? You ain't getting no ring. All right? You're going to be You're going to be ungrateful. But podcast for listening, Spotify for that music. And we're going to leave you with P.L. Parker Lewis and leave you with some Architron. So we got hits, y'all. Like, you know what I'm saying? We got some dope joints. So from us to you, thank you for watching and peace. We out. For real though, let me see. I think y'all are ready for this. I think y'all are ready for some help to bear. You ain't seen a lot, but here we go. Oh yeah.
I'm
I'm the man, yes sir, that killed the bear barehanded so the people won't forget it. Getting money for I was legal to drink. I care what a broke nigga think.
Just like the pack of Lewis.
Look, everything I do so cold. I can do this, both eyes closed. Too short, I stay on my toes. About that guap boy, anything goes. Help the bear if we outside. Help the bear if we outside. Still tipping, baby, nothing changed. I'm still grinding over here, yeah. Still sliding through my own lane. Shorty, nothing funny over here. Dollars rain everywhere around me. Dream to get money. Made it through the storm, living sunny. Dreams came true, now we eating. I got more dreams to chase, gotta reach them. Trying to put a team together like the Hunger Games. Everybody grinding cause we all came from hunger pain.